instead of all other questions that you think about, like, am I doing the right thing? Is this what I would want to do in my life? Is this my goal, etc., etc.? Ask this simple question. And very interestingly, this one question was something that I wrote for myself and reflected upon when I was starting about 7 to 8 months before, with my podcast journey or with my content creation pursuit. And we make things difficult for ourselves. We intentionally or unintentionally get onto the path of those resistance. Is that even required? Is the question. And that's what this question makes you think about. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Unfold Learning podcast, to yet another check in video. Well, those who are new to this channel, to Unfold Learning podcast, for you, let me tell you, this is that format where I bring in aspects or topics which probably nobody talks about, but more from a perspective of things that I have experienced and I would want to express. And on that note, let's quickly jump into the aspect that I wish to share with you all. Come, let's go. When we look into our lives, right, since the childhood and as we grow up, it seems like there are specific milestones that are being designed for us. So if you go back in time, look at your own childhood, you will realize that the first milestone was growing up to be a better person, to be a good child, right? Which meant getting some good marks, teachers talking really good about it, not having that many fights with your friends, etc., etc. And then you proceed with your life. The first benchmark or the milestone that comes in is the grade 10 results and then the grade 12 results. Well, essentially, there are some parts in the world where results of students are not declared or discussed, but where I come from, results are the epitome of someone's measure of success, and that kind of signifies how someone would be labeled. Post you clear your grade 12, then there are aspects like what would you choose to become, and then the three most um, uh, lucrative, or the way they were positioned to me, were engineering, medical, or becoming a doctor or a lawyer. And then anything that you choose out of it, you spend about 4 years or 3 years basis whatever you choose to do, and thereafter you move into the aspect of having that milestone of either would you want to do a further studies or would you want to get into a job, and then it becomes about get a good job, get a good pay, then eventually it becomes about get married, then it becomes about get a house, get a car, then it becomes about have a child, and so on and so forth. The definitions, the labels that get associated become a function of the milestones that are already being defined for many of us. And in many ways, when I try and look back in retrospect, I feel that, you know, these milestones actually coded our lives' happiness, the way we define success, the way we see the world, and the way we think people would see us around us, right? In a simple way, it seems like life is a function of that if statement for these milestones. If you have a good job, that means you'll be happy, or you'll be called as someone who's doing good. If you have a good partner, da da da, if you have this, if you have that, and all of those ifs. And then eventually there comes a time uh, in your life trajectory, which, by the way, coined as the midlife crisis, where you come to that stage and you wonder about different questions, right? And the reason why I say this is because I have experienced myself doing this. In fact, there are days where I sit with myself and there are these questions, that come onto you, and it sometimes like feels like these questions are bombarding you, and you feel immensely restless. The questions are like, were my goals my own, or simply what I thought I should want? How much of life had I missed from under planning or over planning? How could I be more kinder to myself and people around? How could I better say no to the noise, to better say yes to the adventures I crave for? How could I reassess my life? Can I? Should I? May I? What is really the purpose of my life? It seems extremely overwhelming. It is frustrating, and it kind of leaves you to just keep questioning everything that you have experienced and everything that is around you. That what if there is that one question that can help us to answer all of these other questions? And very interestingly, this one question was something that I wrote for myself and reflected upon when I was starting about 7 to 8 months before, with my podcast journey or with my content creation pursuit, right? And immensely, it has helped me ensure that I have clarity, I have conviction, and whatever I choose to do, I have commitment. You interested to know what that question is? So let's actually talk about it a bit more. Instead of all other questions that you think about, like, am I doing the right thing? Is this what I would want to do in my life? Is this my goal, etc., etc.? Ask this simple question: what would this look like? What would this look like if it were to be easy? I repeat it again. What would this look like if it were to be easy? And here in this statement, that this could be anything. It could be a project that you're working on, it could be a decision that you're contemplating, it could be a very tricky situation. But ask this: what would this look like if it were to be easy? And trust me, it changes the way you look at things, it changes the way you perceive, it changes the way you act. That eventually leads to the idea of clarity, conviction, and commitment. So when you start something new or something unconventional, which is not very known or which is not the usual, because I was labeled to, work in a particular segment, do that, just keep doing that, and keep those incremental milestones, keep achieving those incremental milestones, and that's that. Nobody expected anything from me. Nor did I also expect anything from myself. But then something happened, and I said that this may not work. This is not what I want. I would want something more. I want to be in pursuit of something. I want to create something. And that's when I decided that, okay, I will create content because I read a lot, I meet a lot of people. Can I process something and give it back to form a community where we can unlearn and learn together? And that's when when this idea was generating and was brewing in my head. You tend to take these ideas to people in your closest circles, right? To your friends, to your families. And I don't know what was I expecting, but I was probably trying to seek some validation in terms of confidence, in terms of encouragement. But trust me when I say this: out of the 10 people that I reached out to, about 8 of them were extremely discouraging, and rather they or perhaps they actually seeped in that sense of skepticism. I was asked questions like, have you done enough research on your content? Do you know your area enough? Did you do analytics? What's your target audience? How would you decide on the niche? How would you know if people would like it or not? And I was like, everybody is asking me the question of how, but nobody asked me why am I really wanting to do this. And that's a different thing altogether. But yeah, like I was thrown with questions which kind of created self-doubt, which kind of brought down my passion and my zeal of wanting to create something different, wanting to be unconventional. That whole energy was brought down. And that's when I had decided that I will list every question down and think about, like, okay, what's the matter, and take up one question at a time and try and solve it. And that's where it clicked me that, could there be a question where everything could be summarized into one and then I respond to it? And while doing that is when I stumbled upon the fact that, what if I reframe this, what if I reorient this? And that's when I said that, what would this look like if this were to be easy? And for me, that this was my journey of content creation and YouTube. What would my YouTube journey or content creation journey look like if it had to be easy? And the answer was simple. It was just do it. Just go for it. Just run with it. We will see what will happen, what has to happen. People will like it, people will not like it. It's okay. That is not in my control. I am not worried about the outcome, but what I should worry about the input, what I should worry about the effort that goes into it. And just try it. Just jump into the water, just go for it, right? And it was that easy. It took me seconds to remove all these questions out of the park, out of the window, and just believe and tell myself that, boss, the only thing that is in my control is just do it. And that's what changed for me when I asked this question: what could this look like if it were to be easy? And we make things difficult for ourselves. We intentionally or unintentionally get onto the path of those resistance. Is that even required? Is the question. And that's what this question makes you think about. What could this look like if it were to be easy? So, if you're struggling with something, if you feel overwhelmed, if you have questions bombarding at you, try and ask yourself this question: what could this look like if it were to be easy? That's my time. Thank you very much for being here and doing this check in with me. Do comment and share your thoughts. It is extremely encouraging. Do not miss to subscribe. Do not miss to share. And this is your host, Kostav. I will see you next week with some new episodes. And of course, the check in video will continue every week. Till then, take care, and I will see you soon. Thank you for being there.